I'm sort of putting myself in a very personal situation. I don't even know what to label myself. I sometimes call myself a Muslim atheist, which is sort of retarded. But it'd be really difficult to sort of deal with two social groups that I can relate to. It's almost coming from one background and then coming back to it and saying, hey, I'm going to break your wall down. And it's just like, okay, you're doing the same thing we would have done to you. And I get stuck. And I guess that's what I was sort of attacking you with.
Yeah. Maybe breaking walls down is a bad thing to say.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know how I meant it. I mean, we're trying to level the playing field.
Right.
That's an unfair privilege that shouldn't have been given.
But what's the quest? Is it recognition?
Yeah, that's I think that's the main thing. I think giving a voice to a marginalized group. We're all familiar with that from a lot of minorities have asked for that. I don't think atheists should feel that they shouldn't have be entitled to the same rights. Not that they have an entitlement complex like a lot of other groups. We just want the same rights as everybody else. And I think that the Faith Center was an example of leveling that playing field. Yeah. Sorry.
It's okay. I'm sorry to have worked you, but thank you.
No,
thank you very much.
Fine. Thanks.
Hi. Kind of interesting that those two and me are sort of concerned about relative to the same issue of the aggressiveness of the new atheism. I'm actually a Christian campus pastor, so don't kill me.
We don't do
I'm
that.
here to learn, because
We'll take it outside now.
Oh, sorry. But by the way, just a clarification, the Scott Religious Center was never built with any university money. It was a donation of the Scott family, I think. That's just what I heard. So
Okay. Not the same at U of T, but good to know.
Yeah, it's different from U of T, I think, yeah. The first bullet that talks about what the new atheist was saying kind of concerned me about not only his belief in God to be condemned, but so his respect for belief in religion. It sounds rather aggressive, but it also sounds rather militant to me. Is that fair? Would you say that? Characterize that?
In comparison to what's been said before, that's relatively true. But as Dawkins and others would say, it's really no more critical than the things we say about any other system of economics, social system. I mean, what does respect really mean? That we can't say anything critical of something?
No, I don't think so.
Well, that's all I said here. Respect for belief in.
Right.
Not only is God to be condemned, but so is respect. The idea that religion gets respect and that it's hands off simply because it's religion. That's all they're saying is.
Okay, well, I guess maybe it needs to be fine-tuned rather than just simply respect, because we could respect people and still disagree with them.
Well, I think it was
probably more in terms of non-critique of religion is probably.
There's a really good quote that I'm glad you're going to have me say. I think it was by Peter Menowar, perhaps not, who said that we need to believe a man's assertion that his wife is beautiful and his kids are smart. I just screwed that up. We need to respect somebody's religion only in the sense that we respect a man's assertion that his wife is beautiful and his kids are smart. I mean, yeah, sure, we're not going to tell him that's not true. We're going to respect his belief, but we're not going to, give it any kind of real, what's the word I'm looking for? We're not going to endow it with any real meaning or any real significance. Sure, he's entitled to that respect for any belief, but. There's
I guess my point is
that beyond criticism if we want to.
My fear is militancy of any form. I'm really afraid of militant fundamentalist dogmatic types.
Okay.
I mean, given a choice between moderate atheists ruling Canada and fundamentalist dogmatic militant Christians, I'll choose the moderate atheists anytime. Seriously. But I'm worried that this aggressiveness in the new atheist seems to be falling almost in the same camp of that kind of militancy. Because, just to quote, because I've read this book on atheism, a short introduction by Julian Baggini, published by Oxford University Press, 2003. And he's, in one sense, he calls himself a moderate atheist. And this quote here, he says that, I'm reading from Julian Baggini here. At root, though, I think my opposition to militant atheism is based on a commitment to the very values that I think inspire atheism. That is, an open-minded commitment to the truth and rational inquiry. So hostile opposition to the beliefs of others combined with a dogged conviction of the certainty of one's own belief is, I think, antithetical to such values. So I think there's some truth in that.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm afraid of militant Christians as well. So I'm one of those moderates that, because as you said, it's kind of hard to build bridges when you're so aggressive with the moderates as well. So just, I don't know, you may talk about that.
Yeah, no, thanks for that. But I guess maybe before you leave the microphone, when you say militant, I mean, what are the claims that they're making, or what are they doing that you would classify as militant? Because as I said, I don't think criticizing belief in anything is a militant thing to do. I don't know, is it the child abuse when they talk about, labeling a 4-year-old as a Muslim or a Sikh, when you say that's militant? I'm just wondering, anything specific that I talked about that maybe we can...
I wasn't saying that you specifically. I think it's the, when you have a title that says, God is not a great, our religion poisons things,
Okay.
or God is a delusion, obviously sounds rather aggressive and militant from the face of it, right? I mean, it's obviously hostile to religion. It's not just simply anti-religion in the sense that if I disagree with you, I'm therefore anti-something. But it's quite outright hostile, saying that it shouldn't exist, right? I mean, so that's militant.
Of course, it's a marketing ploy. And, Dawkins' film, was a film that came out last year. Somebody help me with this.
The Root of All Evil?
The Root of All Evil. Yeah, I mean, Dawkins in his book actually said that was a stupid title for that film. I didn't come up with that. Of course there's more to, of course evil can come from other areas too. So, sometimes you kind of have to just expect that titles are going to become inflammatory for the sake of selling books. I think he would defend the God delusion, certainly, but he doesn't defend that other title, The Root of All Evil. So,
the title is just an example, but I think
I
mean, what you said was
It's a good example.
the content itself seems to be quite hostile to religion.
Well, I would agree with you that sometimes they make overgeneral tones about all religions that without kind of finding nuance between religions. I would like more of that, more of comparison between, like Harris kind of goes on about Islam for the most part, and then he said, the other religions are basically like it, just not quite as bad. That's sort of, because Islam to him is so dangerous, radical Islam at least, precisely because of the martyr complex. And of course, every religion's had martyrs, but today it's Islam, and Islamic countries, some of them, may have weapons in the future or now that they might use, and so those are, a dangerous combination. So I think that's why he focuses on Islam. But yeah, he certainly could have done a better job of, and this is, people have criticized Harris for that, a lot, for not looking at, as I said, history and context in as much detail as possible, and why religions were developed in the first place, in terms of sort of how they had, how you can't just be critical of things the way they are now if you don't talk about why they evolved in the first place, and he doesn't do the greatest job of that. By the way, Harris is also on the outs of a lot of atheist groups. I don't know if you know about this. At the Atheist Convention in DC, back in September, he made a statement that atheists should stop calling themselves atheists, they should stop organizing as atheists. It's bad, it's a bad PR move, because atheists, just the whole name it's finished with that name. Nobody takes it seriously. So just be reasonable people and criticize any unreasonable policy, but don't organize as atheists. So that's been pretty inflammatory to a lot of atheists, because we think organizing as atheists and giving atheists a voice is an important thing to do. Of course, Harris is a one-man voice because he's got the book. Most of us don't have that opportunity, and we get some of our speaking opportunities like this one by having a title and an organization behind us. Just to give you an idea that there's factions within atheism. It's not like it's one monolithic group. As I said, in any movement that's of any maturity, there's going to be different approaches, some more radical than others.